Chapter 93. Heavenly Fury Black Corpse. Hey kid, old man, seriously. This girl is not bad. Don't miss it and regret it. Dan Emperor's voice came again. I say, you old man, just save your heart. Kid has no interest in this area right now. Free time, you might as well teach me a few sword techniques. Kang Tian laughed bitterly in his heart. The long black blade in his hand shot out a streak, annihilating the incoming zombies around him. This was his Wong family's family heirloom Thunder Blade technique, which was not bad in terms of power. Of course, that was only in terms of heavy iron city. In the cultivation world, there were countless such low-grade blade techniques, all of which were ground level. With Kang Tian's current strength, using this kind of blade technique was simply a self-imposed shame. Kid, the old man said that there are no blade techniques. You have to wait until you worship the Heavenly Dao sect before searching for them. The Heavenly Dao sect has a large family. There must be a blade technique that you need. Emperor Dan shook his head. Kang Tian couldn't help but feel deflated as he heard this, and said with some hope, then you old man pointed out. How can I say that you old man is a supreme expert? Casually instructing me will allow me to advance my blade technique a bit. That's true. Emperor Dan smiled with incomparable complacency. Then he was silent for a moment, seemingly thinking about something. Only to say after a while, old me did think of an idea. You kid has already cultivated intent. Why don't you merge your hegemonic intent into your blade and create your own blade technique? Maybe it's a good path. This, Kang Tian was half convinced. Just by his half-ass level, he could also create his own blade technique. This old man wasn't mistaken. Dan Huang continued, kid, all the laws in the world belong to the same lineage. The so-called all the laws are the same. Although the Overlord Fist is a boxing method, but you can completely integrate its intention into the knife. Create a move of the Overlord Knife or Overlord Blade. Kang Tian's eyes instantly lit up. The long black blade in his hand fiercely blossomed with a blazing light as he slashed forward. The unrivaled blade shook the void and made a whimpering sound in the air. This blade was much stronger than the shocking Thunder Blade, but it was still not enough. Kang Tian couldn't help but be a little disappointed. Kid, this is just the beginning. You carefully sense it. There is only so much the old man can mention to you. Your own path still needs to be found by yourself. Emperor Dan laughed, then sank into the reverse heavenly cauldron, because he was afraid of the little girl's powerful master. After entering the interior of Mount Fendu, Emperor Dan hid in the reverse heavenly cauldron. Kang Tian advanced all the way, pondering over the Dan Emperor's words and sensing them at the same time, and soon there were some rewards. As he kept slashing out a blade towards the front, each time it was the same action, and the blade awnings that came out of the slashes were just as gorgeous. Flower, thinking wrong on the side, looked at him with some suspicion. Although her heart was strange, she did not disturb Kang Tian. With more and more times of chopping the knife, Kang Tian gradually gained some insights. Whether it was a fist or a knife, they were both weapons and should be exactly the same. In that case, it was not impossible for the Overlord Fist to be performed by a sword. Kang Tian couldn't help but fall into a marvelous state of mind. A faint blade intent began to emanate from his body. Although it was still very weak, it had begun to form. The two of them advanced all the way, and shortly after, they finally reached the top of the mountain. Zhao Wuji, little girl, and the others were already waiting at the top of the mountain at this moment. Little girl was arguing with Liu Suifeng about who was the first to arrive. Kang Tian snapped back from his contemplation when he saw this. He deeply memorized what he had just sensed and waited until he had time to study it. At this moment, the corpse-catching sect revealed its true colors. A basin appeared in front of them. Inside was a huge square. The crowd stood around the basin and could clearly see everything in the square. In this wide square, a group of corpse-catching sect disciples were bowing down and worshipping to a blood-colored coffin. Their mouths were chanting with an unparalleled expression of piety, but due to the distance, Kang Chon could not hear what they were praying for. Another blood-colored coffin. Kang Chon was puzzled in his heart. He still remembered the mysterious blood coffin that he had seen in the underground cave at the back of the royal mansion. There was a fire drought demon sleeping in it. Was there any connection between this blood coffin in front of him and that one? The light in Kang Chon's eyes flickered. The breath of this blood coffin was a bit special, and the breath of the blood coffin he had seen at the beginning was not the same. But such an identical blood coffin, if there was no connection between the two sides, no one would believe it. After all, in the cultivation world, blood coffins were very rare. A bad feeling rose in Kang Chon's heart. If that blood coffin was also an action of the corpse-catching sect, then the corpse-catching sect was too terrifying. One must know that once that fire drought demon was successfully cultivated, it would definitely be an invincible evil creature. As time passed, more and more people came to the top of the mountain. Most of them were Jidan stage powerhouses and some late foundation establishment powerhouses. Those who were under the strength could not come up to watch the ceremony at all. Welcome all of you to come and watch the ceremony. On behalf of the corpse-catching sect, I would like to thank you. An elder of the corpse-catching sect announced the start of the blood sacrifice ceremony when he saw that the crowd had almost arrived. However, right at this moment, the void shook and then shattered. A huge crack appeared in the sky above the square, and with it came a terrifying energy fluctuation. The crowd was instantly shocked as they looked up and watched, only to see that huge crack in the sky. A huge ship with a length of more than 10 feet came across the sky, stopping in the sky above the square, emitting an incomparably oppressive aura. Above the giant ship, a powerful aura shot straight up into the clouds. Kang Chon was shocked. None of these auras were Yuanying stage powerhouses. There were hundreds of them. Among them, there was also a vast aura that was unfathomable, far exceeding the auras of those Yuanying stage powerhouses. It was unknown what realm of powerhouses they were. Just as the crowd was astonished by the sudden appearance of this huge ship, a golden light was violently shot out from the huge ship, and a roll of white paper unfolded in mid-air, showing 3 big golden characters on it. Heavenly Tao Order. Heavenly Tao Order. The 3 golden characters emitted a bright and dazzling light. The originally dark Fengdu Valley was completely illuminated. The endless Yin-Chi seemed to meet its nemesis and was evaporated by the golden light. The crowd was shocked. The Heavenly Tao sect finally made a move. Once the Heavenly Tao Order came out, there is no more room for maneuver. The corpse-catching sect will be destroyed. This was the Heavenly Tao's purposeful intent. The great Tang cultivation world must comply. The Heavenly Tao sect is really so powerful. How dare they trespass on my corpse-catching sect's important land, treating my corpse-catching sect as nothing. On the square below, that corpse-catching sect elder, who had just announced the start of the blood sacrifice ceremony, had an iron-clad complexion as he glared at the giant ship in the sky with a face full of anger, his eyes shooting out thick flames of rage. Those corpse-catching sect disciples in the distance also revealed indignant expressions. The corpse-catching sect's blood sacrifice ceremony had only just begun when the Heavenly Tao sect ordered the extermination of the sect. This was a complete slap in the face, not placing the corpse-catching sect in their eyes at all. However, the crowd is not strange. The Heavenly Tao sect is the giant of the cultivation world in the Flood continent. The power of the world is known. The long-gone corpse-catching sect naturally cannot be compared to it. Not to be placed in its eyes is also natural, especially in the domain of the Heavenly Tao sect. The Heavenly Tao sect is the supreme existence. Its majesty has long been deeply rooted in people's hearts. No one dares to brush aside. Corpse-catching evil sect, for the scourge of the flood, heaven and earth are not to be tolerated and should be put to death. In mid-air, a cold and merciless voice came out from the giant ship, and as the voice fell, the Heavenly Tao Order was put away, and the large golden characters slowly dispersed. Immediately after that, A terrifying burst of intent snapped out and shot up from the giant ship, shooting straight up into the sky and shaking the sky. Kang Chon looked at the giant ship, the sky with horror. A terrifying aura coming out of that giant ship made him tremble. All of them were Yuanying stage powerhouses. Each aura was like a wolf smoke, charging straight up into the sky, shaking the sky and shaking the earth. While he was shocked, a figure emitting a terrifying aura stepped out of the giant ship, one after another, and appeared high in the sky. There were more than 100 of them. All of them were Yuanying stage powerhouses. These powerhouses coldly looked down at the corpse-catching sect below, and a fierce killing intent shot out from their icy eyes. The crowd was incomparably shocked. When did Yuanying stage powerhouses become so worthless? Even more than 100 Yuanying stage powerhouses appeared casually. Worthy of being the Heavenly Tao sect, the strength of the giants of the cultivation world was undoubtedly evident. People are shocked. This is the strength of the cultivation world giants. The moment the Heavenly Tao order comes out, it is more than 100 Yuanying stage powerhouses. In the great Tang cultivation world, which power can compete with it? Can the corpse-catching sect still be saved this time? The crowd had questions in their minds. However, the elder of the corpse-catching sect in the square was not the least bit afraid. He smiled coldly and said disdainfully, "A mere 100 Yuanying. You want to break my corpse-catching sect? Do you think that there is no one in my corpse-catching sect?" The crowd was surprised. Listening to this person's tone, he seemed to be very confident. Even when facing 100 Yuanying stage powerhouses, he didn't have the slightest fear. Could it be that the corpse-catching sect was hiding some terrifying strength? Just as the crowd was wondering, a group of corpse-catching sect disciples on the square below were lifting out a mouthful of black sarcophagi, which were emitting an evil aura. Each one of them was incomparably powerful, not much worse than the Yuanying stage powerhouses in the sky. Feeling the evil aura emanating from the sarcophagi, Kang Chon's heart palpitated, the cold hairs on his back stood up, and a kind of fear rose from his heart. It seemed as if there was some great terror within these sarcophagi. In the sky, those more than 100 Yuanying stage powerhouses couldn't help but reveal a gloomy expression when they saw these black sarcophagi appear. The corpse-catching sect is famous for manipulating zombies all over the world, so today might be an eye-opener. Beside Kang Chon, a blue-clothed old man arrived at an unknown time and said in a grave tone, "Senior, you are." Kang Chon was shocked. When did this blue-clothed old man appear beside him? He didn't even realize it. Undoubtedly, this was a strong person. Otherwise, there was no reason for him but to be able to sense the other party's aura. The blue-clothed old man revealed a gentle smile to Kang Chon and smiled as he said, "Old man, how you Jushi? My little friend is courteous." This old man's temperament was extraordinary, and between his words there was a powerful aura revealed. Kang Chon expected that this person's cultivation was by no means simple, and it was very likely that he was a Yuanying stage powerhouse. How you Jushi? Senior, could it be that How You Residence is? Kang Chon was instantly surprised when he heard the words. It was rumored that the boss behind How You Residence was a Yuanying stage powerhouse, so no one dared to make trouble in How You Residence, and it seems that it is this person now. The blue-clothed old man, that is, the How You Residence, gently nodded his head at the words and said with a smile, "How You Residence? That is the old man's industry that he is preparing to retire, meeting his fate. Next time your little friend goes to live in the How You Residence, the fee is completely free of charge." Kang Chon couldn't help but be stunned. This old man was quite funny. "Stinking old man, you're so petty. You know that people are going to leave How You Residence before you say that. I don't know when I'll come to How You Residence next time." Little girl Zhao Linga didn't know when she ran here and glared at How You Residence, saying, "Little girl, you've come to tear down old man again." How You Jushi rubbed his forehead and laughed bitterly. He was very helpless against this little girl. HMPH. The little girl snorted coldly and ran to the side to annoy Flower, thinking wrong again. Kang Chan and the others couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when they saw this. Luckily, this girl wasn't interested in them right now. At this time, there were already 36 black sarcophagi on the square below. After those corpse-catching sect disciples lifted out these sarcophagi, they left and never appeared again. In the entire square, only that corpse-catching sect elder and the 36 black sarcophagi remained. The elder of the corpse-catching sect proudly looked at the more than 100 Yuanying stage powerhouses in the sky and coldly said, "To deal with you guys, I don't need to send out a single soldier of the corpse-catching sect. The 36 heavenly fury black corpses will be enough."